I forgot. Here, this month's grocery money. What my husband slammed down was a single $50 bill. Only $50 a month for a family of 3. That's impossible. If you say it's not enough, then you should earn more. I could find no further foothold to argue with my husband, who looked at me with a chilly gaze. My name is Lily, and I'm 27 years old. I live with my husband and daughter. I met my husband, Tom, during our college years, and we became a couple 6 months after we met. I lost my mother when I was in elementary school, and since then, I was raised in a single-father household. I've faced prejudice from some people and never had a fiancé before. I heard my ex, Alex, talking behind my back, a child from a single-parent family can't be a good marriage partner. Can they even raise kids properly? But Tom was different. He said, "Your father must be a remarkable man to have raised such a wonderful woman like you." When I heard his words, tears rolled down my cheeks. Tom was always on my side, no matter what. At that moment, I became certain of him. After graduation, we both started working at my father's company. 3 years into our careers, Tom and I decided to get married. My father, who raised me in a single-parent household, is a very anxious man. He wanted Tom to be his successor. However, Tom's family strongly opposed, so we had to give up on that idea. I ended up marrying into Tom's family. And thus, our married life began. We were blessed with a child within 6 months. Afterward, I resigned from my father's company. I wanted to build a happy family surrounded by our children. I was delighted to feel closer to the happy family I had dreamed of. Little did I know that the birth of our child would mark the beginning of a nightmare. One evening at dinner. "Hey. Are you trying to piss me off with this awful meal? Make it again." As I tried to calm Tom's anger, ensuring it didn't turn towards our daughter, Emily, who started crying at his voice, I said, "I'm sorry. But this is takeout food. It's good, isn't it? Don't talk back to me. And if that's takeout, you're just being lazy. Do your household and parenting duties properly. How can you, please stop taking it out on me? You can't even cook properly. You're such a useless wife." Tom spat out those words and locked himself in his room. Why has it come to this? The kind person he used to be was nowhere to be found. As if he had become a completely different person. Thinking back, Tom's behavior began to change gradually after our daughter was born. He would get irritated easily, belittle me by saying things like, "You can't earn money, you're useless." Or, "Can't you even do the housework properly as a stay-at-home mom?" This is why children from single-parent families. He would ignore or not listen when I asked about work, possibly due to exhaustion. After all, Tom wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom to support the family, which led me to quit my job at my father's company. Tom's occasional tyrannical behavior seemed as if he enjoyed having control over me. Despite my growing resentment towards him, knowing the hardships of a single parent, I couldn't bring myself to consider divorce for the sake of our daughter. It seemed Tom was doing well at his company. He would sometimes call my father, who was too busy with work, to seek advice. But in reality, I would often sigh when looking at the photo of my younger self with my mother in our room. I wish I could have discussed this with Mom. 3 years into this life, one day, I forgot. Here, this month's grocery money. Tom threw down a single $50 bill as he said that. Just $50 a month for a family of 3. That's impossible. What happened to the money? Being frugal and making do with what you have is what a stay-at-home mom should be doing. You're always home. So use that brain of yours to think of something. Don't be unreasonable. Let me manage the household expenses. I have my own social expenses, so no. It's $50 for just you and the child. It should be easy, right? That's just impossible. Saying that, my husband left the room. Your father is a remarkable man to have raised to such a wonderful woman like you. Where has the Tom of those days gone? Or is this the real him? I've thought about running away many times, but I couldn't do that, thinking of my daughter. The hardship of raising a child alone. Oh, if only my mom was still alive. I've contemplated divorce several times. But the thought of burdening my daughter with the stigma of coming from a broken home always outweighed my courage to take that step. However, I wasn't just passively accepting the situation and obeying Tom. I've repeatedly asked for an increase in the grocery budget and secretly looked for work-from-home jobs or employment without him knowing. But with just $50 a month for groceries, I couldn't provide my daughter with decent meals. I had been using my savings from before I was married to supplement our monthly food expenses, but my savings were also running out. I was making every effort to ensure my daughter got nutritious meals first. However, such an unsustainable lifestyle of extreme budgeting eventually took its toll on my health. If I collapse, who will take care of my daughter? Maybe I should ask Dad for help. And with that thought, I decided to call my father. But after talking to him, I must have felt relieved. I lay down on the sofa and fell into a deep sleep. When I abruptly woke up, the first thing I saw was my daughter's sleeping face, with clear tear stains on her cheeks. Grandpa. Mommy's awake. Really? That's great. The next face I saw was my father's, with tears in his eyes. As I tried to understand the situation, staring at my father's face, he said, "Lily, I was really worried about you." "Dad, where am I?" "You're in the hospital. Collapsing from malnutrition in this day and age, what on earth happened?" My father, trying to hold back tears, choked on his words. He might have been crying the whole time I was asleep. He's always been a crybaby. "I'm sorry for worrying you. But why are you here? What about work? Don't you remember? You called me asking for help." After that, I was worried and called back, and Emily answered the phone, telling me that Mommy had collapsed, so I rushed over and called an ambulance. Saying that, my father gently stroked my daughter's head. "Thank you. You saved me by telling Grandpa. I'm glad Mommy is okay." My daughter, praised by her grandfather, was all smiles. I never imagined my daughter had grown up to be so reliable. Maybe she learned from bad examples. As I was looking at my daughter in deep thought, my father asked worriedly, "You've become so thin. What happened? Haven't you been eating properly?" I tried to brush it off, but facing my father's earnest gaze, I gave in. And then, I revealed everything about my life with Tom. "So that's what happened with Tom?" "Yes. Why didn't you tell me everything?" "I didn't want to upset you, Dad, after you were so happy about my marriage to Tom, and..." My voice turned into a sob halfway through, and my father's voice, holding my hand, was trembling with tears as well. "Lily, it hurts me more when you don't tell me anything." The moment I heard my father's words, my tears flowed like a dam had burst. "Dad. I'm sorry. There's no need to apologize. I'm always on your side, no matter what, so you can talk to me about anything, okay?" "Yes, Dad. What have I been enduring all this time? If I had consulted with Dad sooner, maybe my daughter and I wouldn't have had to suffer." I felt like I had lost sight of what was important, all in the effort not to worry my daughter and father. A home without smiles and filled with shouts couldn't possibly be a happy place for my daughter to grow up in. After seeing the change in my expression, my father said, "I'll make a phone call," and left the hospital room. After my father had returned and we had been talking for about an hour, Tom arrived at the hospital. "Hey. Don't call my workplace for such nonsense." Tom entered the room hastily, irritated, but upon seeing my father, he quickly changed his attitude. "Oh, hi." My father, on the other hand, remained calm in the face of Tom's usually unseen aggressive behavior. "This is a hospital. Don't raise your voice like that, it'll bother the other patients." "But, it's because Lily told the reception she was hospitalized due to malnutrition." "Oh, I was the one who made that call." "Is there a problem with that?" "What? You called?" Because of that, I was embarrassed in front of my colleagues, getting looked at with disdain. Give me a break. Embarrassment, huh? Compared to what you've been doing to my daughter, that's nothing, isn't it? Tom became even more agitated in the face of my father's unwavering calmness. "Lily, what the hell have you been blabbing about? This is a family matter." My father gently embraced my startled daughter, but Tom paid her no heed. It's as if he couldn't even see her. This time Tom turned on me, but strangely, I felt calm. Having my father and daughter by my side, I could face my husband with an unexpectedly firm stance. Now what? Are you going to lay a hand on me? Whoa, quite feisty today, aren't we? Getting all cheeky. As I was about to retort to my enraged husband, my father intervened and confronted Tom. Tom. Before you shout at my daughter, don't you have something you should say to me? What would that be? Tom asked, looking puzzled. Despite his anger, my father continued calmly. You're paid a decent salary. Yet, you don't feed my daughter. What's the reason for that? What have you been spending it on? Tom fell silent. However, what are you angry about? This is just discipline. There's no problem here. More importantly, when will the position of president be vacant? I'm always ready to take over. What? My father was at a loss for words at Tom's absurd statement, revealing his true nature. What are you surprised about? It's only natural for me, the husband of the president's daughter, to take over the company, right? With someone as competent as me at the helm, a small to medium-sized business will surely become a prominently growing enterprise. You should hand over the presidency to me right away, shouldn't you? Tom continued with his nonsensical statements. My father seemed too appalled to respond, so I stepped in. If someone like you became president, the company would go bankrupt in no time. What did you say? As Tom was about to lash out at me, my father grabbed his arm. You're fired, effective immediately. What? Didn't you hear? You're fired. Having an employee like you would ruin the company. And you want the presidency? You must be dreaming. For the first time, Tom was speechless and frozen, faced with my father's rage. Then, I delivered the final blow to Tom. Let's get a divorce. I can't stand to be with you anymore. It's bad for our daughter's upbringing. And I don't want to trouble my father any further. Tom, faced with the declaration of divorce, retorted, Hey. If I can't become president, there's no point in marrying a woman like you. Excuse me? The only attractive thing about you was the title of the president's daughter, right? I married you because I wanted to be the successor. Tom's unbelievable statement. I thought Tom had changed. But I never imagined he was like this from the start. Then, as my father opened the door and said, Please come in, Tom's parents entered the hospital room. Mom. And Dad too. Why are you here? Tom began to panic immediately. My in-laws apologized to me. I told them, it's not your fault, and offered them seats, their faces red as they began lecturing Tom. We came as soon as we got the call. We've been listening outside. What are you doing to your precious wife and child? We're disowning you as our son. What? Then, my daughter handed the divorce papers to my mother-in-law. Here. This. It seemed she knew I always kept them in my bag. What? Why? Just perfect, said my mother-in-law as she took the divorce papers, filled them in and then took Tom back home with her. Please go ahead and divorce this man. We'll take care of the alimony and child support. We'll make sure he pays. A few days later, without any hesitation, I went to the county court with my father and daughter and filed the divorce. Later, we discussed child support and alimony under the guidance of a lawyer recommended by my in-laws, and Tom was very subdued throughout. We agreed on a lump sum payment for alimony and child support from Tom's savings, and I bid him farewell with a "take care" as we left the lawyer's office. A year has passed since then. I'm working part-time at my father's company. You are more competent than that man ever was. It's a big help having you here, my father said, so I decided to work during daycare hours. Thinking about the future. I became so efficient at accounting that people jokingly suggested, you should be the next president. My father kept saying, yes, that's my daughter. Maybe she should, showing his typical doting parent behavior. But each time, I'd respond with, but then I'd have less time with my daughter, right? And laugh it off. Later, I had an arranged meeting with the son of President Johnson. A business partner and a close friend of my father, he said, if my son ever causes trouble, let me know. I will definitely protect you. And his son turned out to be a very nice person, so I'm seriously considering marriage. I don't know what became of Tom. My daughter was fond of her former grandparents, so we occasionally meet up, but they avoid bringing up Tom. I'm truly surrounded by wonderful people. Perhaps this is all thanks to my father, who raised me all by himself with all his might. Even the photo of my mother in the room seems to be smiling a bit more. I plan to continue cherishing my family and live happily with my daughter. Mommy, more please. You're so amazing. My daughter is happily eating her meal again today. I will never let her experience hardships again. That, I vowed to myself.